Earth has been devastated by an interdimensional parasite known as the Root. After fighting your way to Ward 13, home to a few human survivors, you are tasked with finding their leader, Ford. To do so leads you through various procedurally generated worlds, where each run through the campaign can be quite a bit different than the last. This is a third-person Souls-inspired shooter, and it is available on Game Pass for console and PC. You can play it with up to 2 friends at a time, and it just got an enhancement patch for the Xbox Series consoles. Let us take a look at 2019's Remnant, From the Ashes. Not too long ago, I reviewed a third-person shooter that had 3-player co-op called Outriders. That game could not be more different from Remnant. Instead of being a brash and cocky power fantasy, this one takes its inspiration from Dark Souls, Lovecraft, and making you feel close to death no matter how full your health meter is. Remnant is punishing, and before the 60 frames per second mode was added in for next gen, it could also feel quite sluggish. Everything is deliberate, from your movement to your constant lack of ammo for the game's various weaponry. Speaking of which, you have a melee slot and 2 range slots, a sidearm and a long rifle. Armor consists of head, upper and lower torso, medallion, and 2 ring slots. There is a light crafting system that's tied to items bosses drop, along with an upgrade system tied to the various types of metals you can find in the game world. The leveling system consists of an eventually massive skill tree, which allows you to put points into basic stat boost for nearly everything you do in the game. It's both simple but deep enough to keep you thoroughly engaged as you traverse the game's deadly environments, and it rarely slows you down during cooperative play. Those environments consists of 4 different biomes, with the DLC adding in more if you're willing to pay. Graphically, the game is okay looking. Animations are well done, character models are basic for the humanoids and disturbing for the root-infested enemies. On the newer consoles, the frame rate in the 60 frames per second mode felt rock solid. It's not a looker, but the art direction invokes a sense of misery and horror that matches the game's tone and music in a way that I appreciated. This works in service of a punishing but fair combat system. You have 4 item slots tied to the D-pad, which can be used for healing, getting buffs for your character, fighting off area-specific maladies, or replenishing your ammo on the go. You have an initial choice of 3 loadouts to start, but you can quickly earn the armor and weapons from the other 2 if you find you don't really like what you started with. At the beginning of each campaign, your course is laid out through a procedurally generated system. The story and locations are always the same, but what each area contains, side quest and boss choice-wise, is different every run. After my 3rd run through the campaign, I did see a bit of repetition, but not enough that it soured anything for me. As you take out bosses, they will drop an item that you can use to craft a new weapon, and certain armor types must be found and earned in-game, with certain runs offering up access to specific things. Movement is slow-paced with a short stamina meter to start. The shooting always feels good though, and far better at 60 than it did at 30, though the melee generally feels far less impactful. Thankfully, weapon variety is excellent, though it can be hard to use most of what you have, as you need a large amount of the in-game metals and other various drops to upgrade them, and attempting to use underlevel weapons or armor in comparison to your best items will lead to far too low damage output, and you end up opening yourself to death from only a few hits. Remnant uses a checkpoint system directly out of the Souls series. You must manually activate to save or travel, and doing so will respawn every enemy in the area that you may have already killed. Death will come often, though at first things weren't too rough. This game can be enjoyed solo, but like most, it is far better in co-op. The loot is per person, so you don't have to worry about sharing or losing out on things. And the connection always felt stable when I played with my wife and brother. As said though, if you have the patience for it, this can be a solid solo experience. It will test you though, as many areas can take 20 or 30 minutes to clear on the higher difficulties, where you can die in a second or two of attacks if you get caught off guard. Thankfully, boss encounters give you a checkpoint before the blatantly ripped off Souls fog wall to enter the arena, which greatly reduces their frustration. To wrap things up, I purchased Remnant for $40 when it was new, and I really enjoyed it. It's tough, a bit slow, and kinda ugly, but now that it is on Game Pass for both console and PC, it's an easy recommendation for anyone looking to murder a bunch of creepy looking monsters, either alone or with their friends. Thank you so much for watching. And please like, comment, and subscribe. And if you do subscribe, please tick that little bell so you know whenever we post. And we will see you here next time on XboxEra.